Okay. Hey, E. Carter. Welcome. All right. So I'm going to wait until people start coming in. I'm going to wait until people start coming in. I was just posting the links there. Oh, great. I was going to talk about that today. That's wonderful to hear. So, just going to give people like 5 minutes. Hey, Nate, welcome. Chanelli, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Today we have a fantastic topic, and we're going to talk about some things today to help you guys grow. Genesis, welcome. So I'm just going to give people 5 minutes. I'm just in the background doing some work. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to come in. Well, probably like 2-3 minutes. As you come in, click the like button and leave a comment. Okay? So I'm going to mute for a minute. Let people start coming in. ABS, welcome. Avion, welcome. Pelej, welcome. Okay, guys, so I'm going to start. I'm just going to give it a minute or two for people to start coming in. Marie, welcome. Leilani, welcome. Avion, welcome. Pyramids, welcome. Norma, welcome. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's give it just like a minute or so more. All right, so I'm in the back. I'm going to mute for a minute. I'm going to give it a minute more, and then I'm going to start. So we're going to start at like, or maybe like, yeah, exactly a minute. So like at the 4-minute mark, and then we're going to get started. I'm going to mute. Okay, so we are back. Wildflower, welcome. And Morero, welcome. Okay, so two things. In the days going forward, I am going to be building my um I want to focus on building my network. Okay. I used to have a very big private network of followers, and I had to do a little bit of purging. So I'm going to be focusing on two things going forward, which I just mentioned, which was focus on rebuilding that private network, that Discord network. Okay. Number one. And number two, Maikai Life, welcome. And number two, I'm going to be focusing on a newsletter. Okay. So in order for me to do the newsletter, I'm going to have to work at building that network again. Okay. Which would be that Discord network. I wanted to do Telegram, but it's just too many bots and it's not like a private network. I want a private network. Okay. So I'm going to start doing weekly live streams, and those weekly live streams, people will be invited to join the Discord. Our Discord is very peaceful. We don't fight. We don't, get engaged in that. But only people who are going to use the Discord and post daily. Okay. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. Okay. The second thing is I'm going to be doing a newsletter. So that means it's not going to be a lot of videos because I'm doing this for a reason. I was thinking, okay, I went back to podcasting, but that didn't really sit well with me. I said, my spirit says still make videos, but cut it down to like once a week, but a newsletter, because I believe we need an offline solution to communicate. Let me know if everyone is following what I'm saying. Press 1 if you heard me. Okay, great. All right, thank you for that. So, okay, great. Thank you for that. I'm just letting you guys know up front that the newsletter, because it's going to be printed and mailed, I cannot do it for free. Okay. And it's not going to be some ridiculous amount of money. It's probably going to be like maybe $10 max, between $5 and $10. And that's for like printing, postage, and shipping. Okay. I don't want to say too much because this is not private, but what I would like to have done is that everyone who wants to sign up for the newsletter, okay, they should email me that they want to be a part of the newsletter. So the newsletter is for people who want to communicate with me offline. So we're going to be writing to each other. I'm going to be writing to you guys, and you guys are going to be writing to me. Okay, if you want to. Okay, so just in case like someone says, okay, I can't do the monthly group training, but I still want to be a part of the group, then the newsletter would be for you. Okay. So again, the newsletter would be printed. I would have to pay for first of all, my time writing it. And it's not going to be a ridiculous length newsletter. And I'm thinking something like a legal size paper, which is a really long paper, legal size paper front and back. Okay. Maximum front and back. And hold on. And it's going to be shipping, and it's going to be, so typing, shipping, mailing, that's it. Okay. So that's basic, and printing, I'm sorry, printing. Okay, so typing, printing, and shipping. Okay, shipping and mailing would be the same, right? So that's what I'm going to be focused on in the coming days. So let's say, someone says, okay, I don't want to take the group, I can't afford the group training or whatever reason, or I want to do the group training and I want to do the newsletter. I want an offline solution for my followers. So I need my followers to do a bunch of things. Okay, we're at the 10-minute mark. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, share screen. Let's present. Hold on here. Okay, present. Screen sharing with two monitors. Okay. All right, I'm sharing my screen now. Wildflower, welcome. Okay, so this is my Rumble page. Okay, this is the link to Rumble. So everyone, I need you to join Rumble. That's the link to Rumble. Okay, this is the link to Odyssey. Okay, these are the backup channels. Okay, but I need you to join them. So this is the link to Odyssey. Join Odyssey. Okay. Okay, so this page is if you need to book a consultation. So what I'm working on now personally with myself is I'm doing some deep regression therapy, okay, which is much needed for me because of the technology in my body. And the technology produces amnesic barriers. And I need to know what was going on behind those amnesic barriers, right? So for me, I'm going through like deep regression right now, which is really, really helping to open up my brain and to help me with my memory. Okay. So if you need assistance, you can book a consultation here. Okay. So just to let you know, going forth on the last Friday every month, the times will change, okay, for the consultation, right? So you can book a consultation here. I'm just giving you the links to help you before we get started, right? Because I always forget. Okay, all right, this is the group training page, right? The group training is once a month, and I'm always thinking, how can I better help the people who follow me? As you know, my last channel, that channel is gone. So I'm literally starting over again. Okay. So if you want to be a part of the group training, pay attention. The group training is no longer on Thursdays. Let me repeat myself. Group training is only 1 day a month, but at 2 times. So it is the last Friday of every month from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and then 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at night. Does everyone understand that there is no longer a Thursday session? It's Friday, 12 to 2, and Friday, 7 to 9. This month's group training, we are doing a deep spiritual purification of your sex organs, because that came up in the last group training, and we did not do a thorough cleansing. And my spirit told me this month, hone in on the sex organs and to purify it in both male and female. So that is this month, January 2023, Friday the 27th, only at 12 to 2 and 7 to 9. And this is the link. Okay. This is the link. Okay, that's the group training. Okay, now this is the page for the herbal bath. So the next page that will be up will be the newsletter, where you'll be able to sign up for the newsletter and you can participate. You can pay to be a part of the newsletter. Okay? Because I want an offline solution where I'm in communication. I am talking to my community offline. And I'm not going to go into it further. You have to join Discord. Okay? You have to join the Discord to be a part of it. And Discord, there is no, we don't fight, we don't argue, we don't do any of those things. Okay? Okay. So this is the page for the herbs. Okay? This is a new page. The old page, and I still kept that formula. The old page was a bath, but all of the ingredients were natural. You could drink it, but it wasn't designed to be drunk. It was designed to bathe, but you could drink it because I used to drink it. And it was very powerful in terms of oxidizing the body, pushing oxygen into the cells. Because I used to drink that before I go running, and I used to drink it when I needed to repair my body after. And I could just go and go and go. It was that good. And I still have the formula. Okay. I'm just not doing both of them at the same time. This one is called I'll Drink to That. And this one is you drink it. It's designed for you to drink. Now I'm still upgrading the formula, but so far for me, I'm like, it's okay. So before we start, did anyone here, we're at 17 minutes. Did anyone here, we have 3 more minutes before we start the today's session. Did anyone here purchase the herbal baths and started taking it? Press 1 if you purchased it and you started taking it. Thank you, E. Carter, for that. Okay, so that's Pyramid and E. Carter. No one else purchased the herbal bath? Okay, not the, I'm sorry, purchase the, I'll drink to that. Okay, so E. Carter and Pyramids. What is, it's a new formula. What is your honest review of the new formula? I am quite sure more people here purchased it. Way more people here purchased it. Hey, Rick, welcome. So we're talking about, we have 2 minutes before we change. What was your honest review about the new formula? Okay, so Norma, you're going to start taking yours on Friday night. Okay, got it. Nate, Nate, I sent you a message on Discord. I sent you a message on Discord. You got to check that message. We'll talk on Discord afterwards. Okay? All right, so pyramids, because I sent out a whole bunch of them. So I guess they're not here today. E. Carter and pyramids. Pyramids. What is your honest review of the new formula? Queen, welcome. You're welcome, Nate. Leilani, bought, not taken. Okay, guys, why are you buying these things and not taking it? Okay, Chanelli, planning to order soon. Okay, thank you. I'm waiting for E. Carter and Pyramids to put their review. Okay, so E. Carter said the internal wash had my body vibrating and I got a good night's sleep. Okay, that's great. All right, and then we have Pyramids. Okay, Pyramid, do you want to post your review? So, I loved the bath. I'll drink to that is good. Gave me the energy, filled me with warm, loving thoughts. I sip all day. Okay, so Pyramids loved the old bath, the bath formula, and then says, I'll drink to that is good too. It gave me energy. Okay, and filled me with warm, loving thoughts. I sip all day. The internal one is way different than the bath. Even the bath, because all the ingredients in the bath was organic and you can drink it. The way the bath, the internal, the first one, was on the inside of the body is totally different from how this one is on the body. And I still have to test it out with exercise. I haven't tested it with exercise yet. I take the internal wash, I'll drink to that every night. So those of you who have purchased it and start taking it, please start taking it. I make these things so that you guys can take it. Please leave a review right there. Okay? Leave a review there. All right, great. Okay, so we're done with that. We're done with advertisements. Okay, next, we're going to, guys, please leave a review, but make sure you take it. Don't buy these things and not take it. Take it. Now let's get started on today. All right, so those of you who want to join Discord, Deborah. Okay, Deborah, email me because I shipped out all of them. Deborah, email me. Okay. Thank you, E. Carter. Please email me with just a screenshot of the purchase so that way I can go check. Okay, because I mailed everything out. Okay, so that you should have gotten that already. So if you haven't gotten it, then something's up because I mailed all of them out. So Deborah, please email me immediately and let me check to see what went wrong. And you should have also gotten a tracking number. Okay. All right. So with that, let's get started. Oh, by the way, we're building the Discord. We're building the Discord. Okay. I'm going to start posting the Discord links for people to join. But before I do that, I'm just going to spend a day on just Discord and our private Discord group and the rules of the Discord. Okay. All right. So today's live stream is about how to develop superior in spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence. Okay. Okay. So the reason why we have to do this is because, you know, for the past 100 years, since they started making advancement in society, it shifted from a religious frame of mind to logic and reason and brain intelligence. Okay, and most people left religion because they hated it. Okay, and they went on into superior brain intelligence, right? And I personally believe you need both. Okay, not religion, because I hate religion, but you need spirituality, especially when you're pursuing intellect. Okay, if you're in the pursuit of intellect, you should not do that without developing core spiritual morals and strong emotional intelligence. Okay? Now, here is the problem where we are today. Most people have abandoned, a lot of people have abandoned religion, and rightfully so. Religion is absolutely corrupt. Okay? But I am not here to tell people go back to religion. I am here to tell people to elevate their spiritual and emotional intelligence. Now, what dumbs the intelligence down, you might want to have a pen and paper for this, is programming. So people today are emotionally stunted because their emotions are not vibrant, their emotions are not colorful, their emotions are stunted because of programming. Okay? People think that they are expressing their true emotions when in fact they're merely mirroring what they're seeing on television, on social media, and even listening to radio, or they're mirroring the emotions from what they've learned through culture. And not all these things are bad. Okay? I'm not saying all television is bad. I'm not saying all social media is bad. And I'm not saying all culture, and I'm not saying every aspect of religion is bad. But the prevailing culture, the prevailing music, the prevailing television programming, and prevailing images on social media are in fact negative. Okay? So instead of people having a thriving, vibrant, emotional intelligence, they have what is a mirrored intelligence. They mirror the emotions of what they see coming from television, or what they hear coming from radio, or what they see coming from social media, or what they live and observe coming from culture. And a lot of the programming is programmed on a negative frequency, which is jealousy, envy, strife, hatred, fighting, rivalry, pettiness, nitpicking, theft, stealing, and I'm talking religion too. You know, I hear people say that I descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'm like, Yaakov means deceiver. Do you know that's what it means? Yaakov was a thief who stole the identity and the inheritance of his brother by dressing up as his brother. That is who you descended from? Abraham sold his wife into sex slavery. That is who you're proud to descend from? Isaac went on and did the same. That is who you're proud you're descended from? But to each his own. If you believe you descended from them, so be it. I'm not here to bash religion, but I'm here to show you how people are programmed to say certain things and they don't understand what they're saying. Yaakov means a thief and a deceiver, a person who's deceitful. Why would you exalt that type of behavior and be proud to say you descended from that? That's programming. That's programming. And as a result, and that's just religion. For example, you know, people watch Real Housewives of XYZ, and the behavior is the most degenerate female behavior. And then women who act like this are surprised when they can't keep a husband. And I'm not criticizing anyone and anyone's relationship, but no one wants to come home every single day to a drama queen. Mirroring. Is that really your emotional response to a situation? If your emotional response to a situation is always in the negative, it means that you have a stunted emotional intelligence. Is anyone understanding what I'm showing them? It means that you have stunted spiritual intelligence. That is nothing to be proud of. It means that you are not growing and evolving. Does anyone understand where I'm coming from? Let me give you an example. If you are poor and you're suffering and you've lost a lot of money and your friend is prospering and getting rich, okay, and you're poor, you have two choices. The first choice would be an elevated spiritual intelligence, an elevated emotional intelligence. The second choice you have is a stunted spiritual intelligence, and it is a stunted emotional intelligence. You are poor and your friend is rich. How do you respond? Many people today would respond by plotting to kill their friend. Am I being honest enough today? Many people would respond by trying to destroy that rich friend. Many people would respond by getting close to the person to get what they could possibly get, to take what they could possibly take, while pretending to be a good friend. That is a stunted emotional response to a situation. That is stunted spiritual intelligence. It means that you have not developed your spirituality to a place where a person's wealth does not define you and does not define your emotions. With everyone on planet Earth today, many would gang up against that friend who is wealthy and try to destroy them or try to take what is theirs. But where did they learn that behavior? Oh, that's a behavior that is indicative of human behavior. No, it's a learned behavior. And if you can learn to be jealous, if you can learn to be like Jacob, who was jealous of his brother's identity, Jacob, who was jealous of his brother's inheritance, you can unlearn that behavior and you can have an emotional response to your friend being rich, and you can have a spiritual response to your friend being rich that is intelligent and evolutionary, meaning it is ascending emotional intelligence, not descending emotional intelligence. You have two choices. One choice that would illustrate a high degree of emotional intelligence would be, hey, my friend is rich, I'm poor. Let me go to him and speak to him and say, hey, listen, I'm poor, but I'm not stupid. Can you teach me what it takes to become rich? That would be a high emotional intelligence or high emotionally intelligent response, meaning that you're spiritually evolving. Why? Because you said, hey, he's rich, I'm poor. I could learn something from him and I can grow. I don't have to take what is his. I don't have to want what is his. I don't have to destroy him. I don't have to stab him in the back, slander him, pretend to be a good friend, take what is his, which is a devolved spiritual intelligence. And let me show you something. Spiritual intelligence comes from the realm of the spirit. Emotional intelligence comes from the realm of the spirit and what is in the heart. But a devolved response comes from the brain. It's methodical. Jealousy, envy, anger, hate, it comes from the brain. But an ascending, evolving emotional intelligence, love, the pursuit of knowledge, sharing, peace, it comes from the heart. Is everyone understanding? So most people's emotions are programmed. So you are programmed to love, programmed to hate, programmed to be jealous, programmed to be envious, programmed to fight, programmed to be at peace. Programming, 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 programming. Okay? Your emotions, these emotions disconnect you from true self. All the programmed responses disconnect you from true self. Okay? And they disconnect you from true emotions. Let me show you an example. Let me show you an example of passions or emotions ruling people. Let me show you an example right now. What emotion just jumped into your body when you saw that word pop up on the screen? To those who love him, he can do no wrong. He's the savior of humanity. He's Jesus. To those who hate him, he's the devil. Meanwhile, most of the people who love him and most of the people who hate him don't know the man. If you have a negative emotional response to that man's name, you are highly programmed. If you have, hello, Miss BB, if you have any negative response to that man, you are programmed. If you have a positive response to that man, you are programmed. Why? None of us here know the man. Does everyone understand what I just said? Do you see how we're programmed? None of us know the man. How are you having a response, an emotional attachment to someone you don't know? When you have a strong emotional attachment to someone you don't know, you have not grown up with, you don't know what they do behind closed doors. When you have an emotional response to someone you don't know, that is called programming. Even if your emotional attachment to the subject is good, it's still programming. Why? You don't know the person. Therefore, the emotional response to the person was programmed into you. Is everyone understanding today's teaching? Therefore, your emotional and spiritual response to that name is stunted. It's stunted. Whether you deem the person as a savior, as a Jesus, it's still stunted. Why? You don't know the person. Whether the emotional response to the person is negative, why? You don't know the person. If you don't know someone and you're moved with an emotional response to them, that's programming. Now, I understand there are times when something is instinctual, when your instinct is telling you this is no good or this is good. That's something else. We're not talking about an instinctive response. Okay? That is something else. Where your instinct is like, stay away from this person, or your instinct is like, this is a good person. That is something else. That is a different realm. Okay? Right? Let's continue. So here's the problem. These programmed, devolved behavior, okay, disconnects you from true self. Disconnects you from true self. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna make you a moderator. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and make a moderator, just not now. All right, because I'm using a different streaming service. So I'll do that later. So it disconnects you from true self. So what is a superior spiritual intelligence? What is superior emotional intelligence? And I'm going to leave that name up on the screen. In fact, I'm going to put this name up on the screen all over. I'm going to put this name on the screen all over, because the emotional response must be triggered in order to be cleared, right? So what it does is it disconnects from true self. Write that down. So when you are lacking superior spiritual intelligence and superior emotional intelligence, it means that you're disconnected from true self. You're dealing with programmed behavior. Welcome, goddess. Okay. Now, most people, because of the programming, let me show you something. Because of the programmed emotions into people, it can lead to emotions that are associated with so-called mental illness. Are you beginning to see what I'm showing you? Emotions that are programmed, emotions that are stunted, okay? Where you have connections to objects and things that you don't know intimately and personally, can lead to unhinged behavior. Look at the name on the screen again. Look at the behavior of both sides that follow that name. The devotees, the people who love that name, do so in a way that that name could never do any wrong. And the haters of that name clearly act in ways that produce mental illness. I'm just using that name as an example. Okay? Now, here is the problem with devolved spiritual intelligence, devolved emotional intelligence. When the behavior, when the emotions are programmed into people, telling people how to react, okay? Let me show you a different one, the more potent programming of emotions. Look at what happened emotionally to people you thought had self-restraint, people you thought that were evolved spiritually. Look on the screen, people. Look at the word on the screen. Look at what transpired over the last 3 years revolving that word. People who were so allegedly intellectually astute, people who were allegedly the most intelligent people on earth, people who were allegedly high IQ individuals, look at the behavior of the population for the last 3 years surrounding that word. What became of these people who had high intellect when this word was brought to the forefront of the human psyche over the last 3 years? How did the people respond? It made a great divide. Hold on. But I thought superior intelligence was in the brain. Uh-uh. People who had 2, 3, and 4 degrees threw away all their years of learning and devolved into an emotional response when that word that's on the screen right now came in to the human psyche. What did we just learn? Which is superior, people? Is it the brain in your head or the brain in your heart? Which is far stronger for guiding humans' intellect? Is it the brain in the head or the brain in the heart? Which is more powerful, people? We're looking at the barometer of that word, the heart. Thank you, Leilani. The heart. The most powerful brain when it comes to human behavior, when it comes to guiding human behavior, when it comes to controlling human behavior, is not the brain in the head. It is the brain that governs the heart. And we saw that in the last 3 years in particular. This is why we must learn to walk in superior spiritual and emotional intelligence. Is anyone on planet Earth today? Did anyone hear what I said? The heart, the resting place, the seat, and some would like to say it's the gut. But let's say the heart and the gut. The resting places of the emotional ruler of behavior trumped intellect. For the last 100 years, we were taught intellect is what guides the human animal. It is superior intellect that guides the human animal. And then someone put this word that is on the screen into the human psyche. This person, hold on, this person that's on the screen put this into the human psyche. This person put this person who was a person whose personality split the country down the middle, created this, authorized, I should say. He didn't create it, he authorized it. And all of a sudden, we saw people of great intellectual capacity devolve into brutes. You're fired. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't eat here. You can't swim here. You can't do this. You can't work here. You can't come here. Hold on. We just devolved. I thought brain intellect was more superior than heart intellect. No, people. The heart is far superior than the brain. Understand how your body works. And understand you must walk in superior emotional intelligence. Now, before we wrap it up, why must you walk in superior emotional intelligence? Because the planet is run by a very sophisticated algorithm, a very sophisticated AI. The AI does not have emotional intelligence, nor emotional restraint, nor can produce a correct emotional response. Did anyone hear what I just said? Press 1 if you understand what I just said. Fighting in the public over a mask, insanity. Banning people over a mask, banning people over the okey poke. Intellectuals, people who have 2, 3, and 4 degrees devolved into animals. Why? Because of programmed emotions. People, you must begin to develop control over your emotions, or we will be wiped out. The AI, the ETs, the aliens, the demons, whatever you want to call them, the jinn, they cannot produce emotional responses. They cannot produce the correct spiritual intelligence, the proper emotional intelligent response to situations. But you, a human, can. And in order to do that, you must begin to disconnect from programmed responses. Now, how do you develop? Miss BB say yay. Go out and come back in. Go out and come back in. Go out and come back in, and that should work. Okay, so how do we begin the journey of developing higher degrees of spiritual and emotional intelligences? How do we begin to do that? Number 1, we must admit that our true emotions have been programmed into us. Thereby, we are prisoners in an invisible prison. Rule number 1, understand we live in an invisible prison and our emotions were given to us. Number 2, once we recognize that our emotions are not natural, but they were in fact given to us, then what we do is we begin to deconstruct the emotions. And the deconstructing part is the part people don't want to face. And this is where you need a good old-fashioned pen and paper and some lighter fluid. Okay? You got to go over the prevailing emotions that control you are negative emotions. What does that mean? If you were sexually abused as a child, you are not acting as your true self. Is anyone on earth? I don't care if you forgave them. Forgiving them is not the solution. Forgiving them is merely the band-aid on the solution. If a doctor finds cancer in your body and tells you, forgive the cancer for invading your body, does that get rid of the cancer? No, you got to dig the cancer out. Is anyone on earth today? If you're in a courtroom and someone harms someone in your family, God forbid that's not happening, and the judge says, forgive the person who harmed your family, is that going to give you justice? No, you got to stop the bad behavior. So in order for a person to begin to develop emotional intelligence, you got to root out the negative intelligence, the evil intelligence that is in you. Evil has more of an ability to control you than good. Forgiveness is a band-aid. Forgiveness doesn't get rid of cancer. You got to dig the cancer out. Rule number 2, pen and paper. Quiet time. Once a week, once a day. And you got to start from your earliest memories, writing down all one by one. Earliest memory number 1. What is the bad thing you remember? Even if it's something like someone stole my lollipop. When I was 2 years old, someone stole my lollipop and I got pissed. And then, oh, look, today you got an anger problem. Yeah, the anger problem stems from how you felt, the emotional response, because you had an attachment to your lollipop and someone stole it when you were 2. And someone comes and tells you, get over it. No, you can't. You got to remove it. So rule number 1 for developing superior emotional intelligence is a pen and paper. Rule number 2 is quiet time once a day or once a week. Rule number 3 is a pen and paper. Rule number 4, start with your earliest memory of a negative response to an emotional event. It doesn't matter how trivial. Write it down and keep writing until all the evil begins to come up. And keep writing and keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. Dig it up. Yes, E. Carter. Dig it up. Dig it up. Dig it up. Dig it up. Don't be ashamed. Even if you were a rapist, even if you were a murderer, even if you were, you abused children. Let's say you want to clean up your life. You got to dig it up. You got to face it. Because you could have been abused and then you turned out to be an abuser. Dig it up. Now, I didn't tell you go public because you'll be killed. Okay? But dig it up. Dig it up. Dig it up. If you abuse children, but you know it's wrong and you were abused, you got to confront it. You got to look at your evil. You got to look at the evil that was done to you. Dig it up. Write it down. Let's say you're a thief. Let's say you're a murderer. Let's say you're a drug addict. Let's say you're a rapist. Let's say you're a liar, a slanderer. Whatever the evils are, start from the earliest memory of when evil came into your life. And that is evil you did and evil that was done to you. Write it all down. And while you're doing this, keep it in a locked box. And then write as the memories begin to flood. Write it all down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep writing. Keep writing. Face the evil. Let's say you sold drugs and you destroyed your whole community and people died. Let's say you did contracts, blood covenants. Write it down. Whatever evil from the earliest memory till you're alive today, keep writing. And when your spirit says, I've released it, then the work begins. You see, you thought writing it down was the end all. Then you got to go through each and every stunted emotional and spiritual response. And you got to take ownership. And let me tell you something. Sometimes, let me tell you, if there is rape in your bloodline, when you're doing this exercise, even though you are not a rapist or a pedophile, if there is pedophilia in your bloodline, and you're not a pedophile and you don't touch children, but it's in your blood, you got to confess it and renounce it for it to be removed. Is anyone on earth today? I think I struck home today. Let's say there's witchcraft in your bloodline, because pedophilia, child abuse, incest, and witchcraft all go together. Let's say there's witchcraft in your bloodline, but you don't practice witchcraft. Doesn't matter. The blood is in your veins. You got to write it, and you got to confess it, and you got to abolish it from your blood. But you're like, I didn't practice witchcraft. It's in your veins. Let's say there are drug dealers in your family. You know, the biggest drug, anyway, let me keep my opinions to myself. We have a drug problem in this country. But my family, there are no drug addicts or drug dealers in my family. You live in a country that legalized pharmaceuticals. It's in your blood. You got to confess it, own it, and abolish it from your bloodline. Is anyone understanding what I'm saying today? So the first part is writing it. Then you got to go and you got to use your personal ID. Your personal identification is your name, the time or the date of birth when you were born. And you got to go and say, I, Renetta Jones, acknowledge in my blood X, Y, Z. But you say, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a thief. I don't lie. Sometimes it's not even in your bloodline. Sometimes it's in your land. Look at the state of drug addiction in the United States. The drugs are being pooped out in the sewage and being funneled back in your drinking water. It's in your blood. Okay? The abortion pills is being flushed down the toilet and funneled back in your drinking water. It's in your blood. So when you're renouncing, don't stand on a holy horse saying, I'm renounced. I can't renounce this because my family don't do this. Garbage. Evil is evil, and evil will find a way to corrupt the just. Evil is evil, and it will find a way to corrupt the just if you let it. So you got to begin. And this is how you do. You do not just say, oh, Lord Jesus, forgive me of all my sins, and Allah forgive me, I'm a sinner, yada, yada. It doesn't work. You need your spiritual identification. Avion, I believe that the best thing to do is to go patrilineally and matrilineally, meaning through the bloodline of the men and through the bloodline of the women. But when you start off, I would say, okay, I, Renetta Jones, and if you're removing something from your bloodline, then you would start with your mother, all the males and females in her line, say her name, and then my father, all the males and females in their line. And then I would say what it is and then remove it. Right? Is everyone understanding? Because sometimes the evil is not directly in your family. It's in the soil. It's in the air. It's in the water. But you got to use your spiritual identification. What does that mean? In your Bible, When the sons of Sceva was casting out demons, the demon said, Paul I know, Peter I know, but who are you? What does that tell you? And I don't believe in the Bible. What does that tell you? The spirit realm got to recognize who you are. So you go in there and you start removing stuff and you don't use your proper spiritual ID. They're going to say, who the hell are you? You use your ID. I am Renetta Jones. Remember me? I have the authority to remove this. And I'm using it to remove it. You got to go in there. When you're removing evil from your bloodline, you don't just say, I forgive, and you're forgiven, and oh, the blood of Jesus. And then you're tied up, bound up, jammed up, and tied up. No. What is your spiritual identification? Is anyone on planet Earth? And I'm not yelling at you guys. I just get really passionate and then I start screaming. I am so sorry. Okay? So when you're done, you got to use that for and you got to go through spiritual identification for every bullet point. If it's 1 billion bullet points, you're going to do it 1 billion times. And then when you're done, you're going to forgive yourself. And if you feel like forgiving those who trespassed against you, go ahead. That's up to you. Then you rip it up and then you burn it in everlasting fire. You should begin to feel the process of cleansing deep on the inside. But that's not enough. When that spiritual act is done, because you're letting the shadow realm, the demonic realm, no, listen, I'm done with this wickedness. I am using my spiritual ID to remove it. I've had enough of you and you demoniacs. And you remove it. Your internal, your inside, your spirit will begin to feel lighter. Chains will start breaking depending on how deep those chains are. Contracts will be broken depending on what you did or what you renounced. People in your family will start being free and you're like, whoa, damn, you went in, they got free. Let's continue. Now, here is what you got to start looking for now. When you're done, you don't stop. Now you begin to surveil. This is the part where surveillance and vigilance come in. Surveillance and vigilance. After you do that, you're beginning to monitor your progress. Your behavior will change. Your emotions will change. So now you're no longer programmed by things like these words. Good or bad? Your emotional response is only when something is just and right and good. When something deserves an emotional response, you will do it. You will lend an emotional response. You're not blown in the wind. Every time someone does this and does that, you're blown here and there. That is not a proper emotional response. Your emotional response must be measured. Your emotional response must match the situation. Your emotional response must be elevated. Right? Now, one of the things you have to start monitoring, because you're doing a process of vigilance when you're done, is you got to look for patterns of behavior. Look for internal, that is patterns of behavior that you see in yourself, and patterns of behavior externally. If the patterns of behavior are on the negative spectrum, okay, you just released horrible demonic bondage from yourself. You're not going to get back involved in gossip and slander and cursing and rage and anger and theft and abuse and incest and violence and killing and murder and lying and cheating and stealing and robbing and conniving and being deceitful and violence and racism and foolishness. Vigilance. 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 And believe you me, the part of vigilance is not easy. It's not easy, especially with social media where you can take a snip of something, twist it, And the people are like, yeah. Okay. Vigilance. Then look for patterns of behavior of love and peace and helping and wholesomeness and purity and kindness and giving and community and purity of thought and purity of mind and community building. And there is no such thing as race. There's the human race and different colors. There's one group of dog. Dog is a dog, but they're different types of dogs, but they're all dogs. The same thing for humans. There are different kinds of bears. There's black bears, there's brown bears, there's polar bears, but they're still bears. So how are there different races of humans? No, there is one human race, different colors. But all are human race. They're different kind of trees, but they're all trees. You look for patterns of behavior. And the patterns of behavior on the negative evil spectrum, you got to begin to root out. That is, if you have someone and their pattern of behavior is constantly negative, and you tell them, hey, listen, this pattern of behavior is not good, and they don't listen, you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. Otherwise, you're going to be letting back in what you just got rid of. Then you got to find the patterns of behavior that are good. If you're listening to music, so-called music, which is nothing more than pornography and witchcraft, and the music is like, I killed the hoe, and I shot the bitch, and bitch hoe bitch, and hitch bow hoe, and hoe bitch itch, and itch scratch hoe. And then you're trying to find a healthy relationship. How are you going to have a healthy relationship and your lover, your husband, your wife, whatever is called bitch, and I scratch my itch with a hoe and a bitch? How are you developing a healthy relationship? How are you developing superior emotional intelligence and your music is hoe bitch with an itch that you stitch with a critch? That is not music. And a whole bitch itch and a stitch with a critch. That is not music. We got to come to the fact that's not music. You got to look for the patterns, right? You got to practice surveillance. And don't worry, the demoniacs will always come with something. Okay, this is where it gets really crazy now. The next part is when you begin. Okay, where is everyone? Everyone seems like they're terrified of me now. Listen, we all have evil in our bloodlines. We all have evil in our bloodlines, okay? We're getting rid of the evil. So it's nothing to be ashamed about. We're not reveling in the evil. Every human being on earth has some incest in their family, abuse in their family, witchcraft in their family, rape, lying, cheating, stealing, hopefully not cannibalism, land stealing, genocide, either being genocided or running from genocide or committing genocide. Or listen, we've been under the dominion of evil demonic creatures. Okay? Every single person on earth has evil in their bloodline. I am showing you how to clean up the evil, not to revel in it. Right? So let's continue. Now, here is where, so the first part is understanding emotional intelligence. The second part is understanding how programming works to change and separate you from high spiritual and high emotional intelligence. The third part is purification. The fourth part is vigilance, patterns of behavior. Now, here is where it get my itch, stitch, critch with a critch and a bitch. Oh, yeah. All right. So this is where it gets... Woo! Okay, guys. It's horrible. Being able to face yourself might be easy. But facing what's hidden in your bloodline is like, woo. Damn. All right. So, yeah. So, facing your bloodline. All right? Because it's scary now. It's scary. And it's gonna get worse if we don't do this. They're legalizing pedophilia. Okay? That's why I'm telling you guys what to do. They're saying pedophilia is normal human behavior. And I'm just like, whoa, people. It's purify your bloodlines. Purify your bloodlines, people. Purify it. Purify it now. All right? That's what they're doing. At the World Economic Forum, they're going to Davos to start drafting the laws to make it illegal to abuse, making it illegal for anyone stopping the abuse of children. That's why I'm like, hey, whoa. Let's get to it. Okay, now let me show you the most powerful part of superior spiritual intelligence, superior emotional intelligence. Let me show you the most powerful part. People, pay attention. Press 1, and then we're done. Press 1, and then we're done. The most powerful part of spiritual intelligence, which they are after to hijack. And I only learned this in my regression. The most powerful part that they have been using to hijack is this. Tuning. The most powerful part of the human being that connects the spiritual to the physical is our ability to tune. I'm about to show you the most powerful secret that they've been using to hijack the human race, turn them into criminals, turn them into thieves, turn them into liars, turn them into rapists, turn them into murderers, turn them into pedophiles, turn them into crooks, turn them into demoniacs, turn them into drug addicts, turn them into violence, turn them violent against women, violent against men, violence against children, hating their neighbors, rapists, demoniacs. I'm going to show you today how they've been doing it. Turn them into zombies, turn them into creatures, turn them into hybrids, turn them into pedophiles, turn them into human haters, turn them into this religion, that religion, turn them. Tuning. That's what they've been doing. Tuning. Renetta, how do they tune? Renetta, you mean to tell me that the human body has the ability to tune into something? What are you telling me, sis? Hey, Melinda, what's up? Tune in? How do we tune? What do you mean? You mean that the human has the ability to tap into anything? We can tap into anything, and what we tap into, we become. Watch this. After you purify, after you identify, you purify, and you practice surveillance, you got to begin to fine tune. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So anyone who thinks I'm crazy, this is from the National Institutes of Health. Okay? Not me. NCBI, NLB, NIH.gov. This is the National Library of Medicine. Investigation of the spinal cord as a natural receptor antenna for incident electromagnetic waves and possible impact on the central nervous system. Whoa, wait, what? The spinal cord is a receptor for electromagnetic waves? The spinal cord tunes in. The spinal cord tunes. It tunes in. What is it tuning into? Well, look at this. Okay, I hope you're sitting down. Okay. In this article, we show through FDTD simulation, that's finite difference time domain, okay, that's some sort of model, analysis of incoming EMF, that's tuning, because you got to tune to get the right frequency, and it's incoming, right? So if it's incoming, you got to tune to get the right frequency. That the spinal cord, acts as a natural antenna with frequency-dependent induced electric voltage and current distribution. What? The spinal column is a natural antenna that is dependent upon frequencies that use voltage, and it distributes current. Whoa. Watch this. Multiple frequencies. The multi-frequency 100 to 2400 megahertz simulation results show that peak voltage and current response is observed in the FM radio range with 100 megahertz. Stop right there. 100 megahertz? Did everyone catch that? Did everyone catch that? All right, watch this. T-Mobile lights up 100 megahertz of standalone 5G in upstate New York? Hold on. Doesn't New York have a high crime rate? How does the spinal column show an electrical distribution and it is a natural antenna operating at 100 megahertz, and the 5G towers operate at 100 megahertz? What is your spinal column tuning into? Is anyone on Earth today? I said, is anyone on Earth today? Identification of human emotions. You must begin to provide quiet time for yourself and begin to write down all negative emotions from your earliest memory. You must use your spiritual identification, that is your name, your date of birth, and begin to renounce each act verbally, one by one. Renounce it, confess it, renounce it, not just for you, for your blood, in your bloodline. Rip it up, burn it. Then you must look for patterns of behavior that are negative, patterns of behavior that are good. Then you got to renounce the negative patterns of behavior and accept the good patterns of behavior. But that's not all. You got to pay attention to what your body's tuning into. The cell phone towers are set up at 100 megahertz, and your spinal column is 100 megahertz. You really think people are out here committing crimes because they want to commit crimes? You think the people out here are on drugs because they want to be on drugs? You think the people out here are rapists and perverts and thieves and liars and cheaters because they want to be? If that were the case, why are the towers at 100 megahertz with your spinal column, which is, watch this, let me show you what controls human behavior. Let's read this again. The multi-frequency, I'm going to show you that people's behavior is being tuned. The multi-frequency 100 to 2400 megahertz simulation results show that peak voltage and current response is observed in the FM radio range around 100 megahertz. Watch this. with significant strength to potentially cause changes in the central nervous system. People, what is the central nervous system for? The central nervous system dictates what you do. You lift your hand, that's your nerves. You move your eyes, that's your nerves. Your thoughts, that's nerve impulses. Your central nervous system dictates what you do. If your central nervous system operates on 100 megahertz and the 5G is 100 megahertz, who's dictating your behavior? Your behavior is being tuned, and now they're saying that they're going to legalize pedophilia. People, wake up. How do you think they're going to legalize pedophilia? They're going to tune the frequencies through the 5G towers. They're going to create the pedophiles. If the 5G towers are 100 megahertz and your spinal column, which controls your central nervous system, is 100 megahertz, they're going to create the pedophiles. Using the 5G towers, your spinal column will tune into that tower, whether you like it or not. Purify, people. Purify. Purify yourself. Purify your body. Purify your mind and run like you said, Bolt, from the 5G cuckoo towers. If your spinal column resonates at 100 megahertz, and those cuckoo towers are everywhere, resonating at 100 megahertz, and they are telling you, the World Economic Forum saying we're going to legalize pedophilia. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to put it in the towers. And your spinal column will be assaulted with this frequency. Purify yourself, people. Purify yourself, not just you. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. And be vigilant. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. That is how they've been creating crimes, people. Poison. Damaging the prefrontal cortex. Damaging the prefrontal cortex. Hooking up the spine, which controls the central nervous system, to the towers. And then programming into the towers. And then directing these towers on certain groups, because they were testing it on small populations of people before they could roll it out. This is not the time to be ashamed and afraid of your evil. This is the time to confront the demons in your bloodline. This is the time to stand up to those demons and say no more. Purify your bloodlines, people. Because the demoniacs is about to put into, so that we may protect these children. They're going to put it in the towers. They're going to put it into the towers and then beam the towers on people's heads. And worse, pedophilia is going to spring up. The towers of Babylon was not a building, people. I did a teaching on that. The towers of Babylon was towers, cell phone towers, and cell phone antennas connecting to ancient satellites. And then they would put into the satellites what they wanted the people to do and how they wanted the people to be. People, purify yourself. Stay vigilant. Run from perversion. Children are not sex toys to be played with. Okay? There is no correlation between children and sex. Children are innocent. Run from these demoniacs. And if you have to run out of these cities because they're going to turn them on, if you have to run out of these cities with these cuckoo towers and cuckoo antennas, people run. Purify yourself. Go out into nature. Eat naturally. Put down the cuckoo gadgets and tune in. People, tune into the forces of nature and tune out to these demonic frequencies. Last but not least, you need to know all the frequencies. Last but not least. Oh, I closed it. Shoot. I was going to show you all the frequencies you needed, but I closed it. Okay, guys, we're done. It's already an hour, 30 minutes. So, guys, if you need spiritual assistance, contact me. Book a consultation. Okay? Those of you, I'm going to get the newsletter up and ready. The next couple of months, the group training, as I'm being led, teach the people to purify their sex organs and purify it in their bloodline. That's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to go deep. We're going to go deep to remove all sorts of stuff that's in people's vaginas, in their testicles, in their penises, in their rectums, whatever. We're going there and we're going to be cleaning house, baby. So join me. It's Friday alone, no longer Thursday. Friday, 12 to 2. Friday, 7 to 9. The last week, which is, hold on. Just give me 1 second here. Friday, which is the 27th. Okay, 12 to 2. And Friday, 7 to 9. We be there for the group training. We are going to do an in-depth spiritual cleaning of your vagina, of your rectum, of your penis, of your testicles. We're spiritually cleaning house. So those of you who's going to be there at group training next Friday, I'm going to do another live video. We're going to fast for this one because we got to break this down, because they're saying at the World Economic Forum, they're going to legalize pedophilia. People, we got to remove this stuff from our bloodlines, okay? Please. And we got to protect these children. They are coming after them. May you be blessed. May you be strengthened. Book a consultation if you need spiritual help. Walk in peace. Walk in love. And use your spiritual power to destroy your enemies. No physical violence. And in a couple days, we're going to start doing the newsletters, because I want an offline solution. And I would like 50 people to sign up for the newsletters. We got 50 people, okay, to sign up for the newsletters so we can do it. So that way it can be done. Guys, love you. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Be at peace. Have a wonderful evening.